Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is your NHL trade deadline edition, as I will be reviewing all the trades and talking about mostly the Edmonton Oilers, as you guys know that for a fact that we're going to be talking about this team a lot of today's episode, as we made some big moves. And I gotta say, today was the most exciting day of my life yesterday, watching trade deadline and seeing us make a lot of moves. Even the day before trade deadline, when we traded for Mike Green in the middle of the night after that game that we won against the Los Angeles Kings, picking up Mike Green, it was a lot of shit to be happy about, which is really surprising for us because we really haven't had a chance to cheer for something at trade deadline. I think the last time we were this excited about a trade deadline was when we made it into the playoffs 2016-17. We didn't even make that many deals. We picked up David Desharnais. I think the really last time that we were excited for a trade deadline was the year that we made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. And that was in 2006, where we picked up Yaroslav Spacek and not just that, Sergei Samsonov, which a lot of these players remind me of. Mike Green, a terrific veteran defenseman for the team, which we need some more veteran defensemen. And all we traded was Kyle Bronziak and a 2020 4th round pick, a conditional 4th round pick, that will turn into a third one if the Edmonton Oilers advances to the conference final and Green plays 50% of the game. So, I mean, I really don't give a shit if it gets upgraded to a third round pick. I mean, that's nowhere near a big deal for me. Either we lose on a pick this year or we lose on a pick for next year. I don't really give a shit. But this was a good trade. Detroit retained 50% of the salary cap. We got rid of Bronziak, which is nice. And I mean, it wasn't too hard on our books. Mike Green is a perfect defenseman. He's a good puck-carrying defenseman. I know we have a lot of them right now, but he's just that depth defender. And with how many injuries we've been having right now, Mike Green's just a perfect guy to implement into that lineup with how many injuries we have been having and Oscar Klefbom being on the lineup. Mike Green is that perfect power play guy. He will man that top power play, and I feel like he's going to do a good job with that. Then we did another trade with the Detroit Red Wings, where we picked up Andreas Athanasiou and Ryan Kovner for Sam Gagner, which we retained 10% of his salary cap, and 2 second-round draft picks. A lot of people were saying this is not a good deal. Honestly, this is a risk or bust move. And most of these moves are. I mean, you can take a look at the title of the Ennis pick. Either he's going to be a bust. We're not going to lose out too much because what we lost out was a 5th-round draft pick. But this deal was, I got to say, a deal. A great deal. Last year, Andreas Athanasiou had 30 goals last year. This guy was a bloody god last year. He was so good. This year, he's kind of having an off season, but the fucking Detroit Red Wings are having one of the worst seasons. Now, Andreas Athanasiou this year is having one of the worst years statistically. He's one of the worst defensive players. Just overall, he's having a rough year. And I feel bad for the guy. But I feel like he's definitely going to take charge when he comes into Edmonton. And he's already been up on the first line with Connor McDavid and Tyler Ennis. He's really getting a good chance with our team. And so what? We trade away 2 second-round draft picks. We still have that first, and we still have the first of next year. Ken Olin said the thing that he wasn't going to do, and that's he said he wasn't going to trade away draft picks. And he certainly has done that. He hasn't traded away a single first-round draft pick. We still have tons of draft picks this upcoming season, right? We have the first-round draft pick, the 3rd round, 5th, 6th, and 7th. We might lose the 3rd round to the James Neal trade, of course, as you guys all know. But, I mean, we still have a pretty good amount of picks. Next year, we have a 1st, 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, a 2 6th, and a 7th. So, I mean, we're doing well on draft pick-wise. And going after Andreas Athanasiou, who's an RFA next year, so this upcoming year, I mean. So that means we keep him on the books on the team, and we could possibly re-sign this kid. Right? I mean, that there's so many possibilities for this team. Even Mike Green, if you get Chris Russell at the books, you could maybe even possibly get Mike Green back on the team as well next year. So, I mean, you really don't want to with so many young pieces coming into the team, but there was a lot of good moves. And the Canadians voted that Edmonton was one of the best trade deadline teams. I mean, we were the only teams that were actually doing a lot of moves, but we did a lot of good shit throughout the entire trade deadline. We were active. We were making a lot of things happen. And we didn't have to give up too much. We really didn't. We gave up a 5th, 2 seconds, Sam Gagner, and what else was it? And like a conditional 4th round draft pick. That's all we gave up in Sam Gagner. And I'm very sad that Sam Gagner has left the Edmonton Oilers once again. I absolutely love Sam Gagner, and I hate that he has to go to the Detroit Red Wings, which is just a team that no player should be able to go to, and he was on a playoff team, and it sucks. It really does suck for Sam Gagner being on a playoff team, doing pretty well this year. It sucks, but that's business, right? You got to do what you got to do. It's a sad day, but the Edmonton Oilers, they're moving up. Sadly, though, with additions, we also lose some players. And Kayla Yamamoto, he has been placed, well, not on injury reserve, I'm pretty sure he has, but he is injured for the next 3 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain, which kind of sucks for us, but that means Andreas Anthony and Tyler Ennis should be getting a hell of a lot of time, and hopefully Zach Kassian, once he gets implemented back in the lineup, gives us some more juice in that lineup, and also James Neal once he gets back in that lineup as well. But let's talk about this big trade deadline. There was 32 trades done this year and 55 traded players, which was the tied with the most way back in 2010. And this was the most trades that happened since 2010. So it was a lot of deals that happened, and we're going to be going all the way to the starting because there's been a lot of deals that have went on through a trade deadline and before trade deadline. So we're going to be talking about almost every single move that has happened, kind of give you a little bit of my opinion on everything. We're not going to go all the way back to December. We'll start with the February trade. We'll start off with that with the Galchenyuk, which was kind of the first blockbuster move. Jason Zucker going over to Pittsburgh for Galchenyuk, Kalen Addison, and a 2020 conditional first-round draft pick. Now, Pittsburgh, they did a hell of a good job building this team up this year. They really did. They did a lot of moves, and they acquired a lot of players that are going to make this team an impact team for the playoffs this year. They're looking for another cup, right? You know. And a lot of people that I was talking to, they're like, yeah, this is stupid. Why are they doing all these trades? Like, Crosby and Malkin are 33 and 32 years old. These guys are old as fuck. They're getting up there, right? You need to go out there. The time is to win now. You pick up Jason Zucker, who is definitely going to be a solid player for the team. And you know he is. He's a great two-way player, and he has 5 points in 7 games. He's been a good player for the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? And then you pick up Patrick Marleau. He's going to be like that Chris Kunitz. He's going to be that Chris Kunitz to the Pittsburgh Penguins, right? And you get rid of Dominic Cahoon, who was doing half decent for your team. You get rid of him for 2 players that Crosby knows, or 1 player that Crosby knows in Carter Sherry, and Evan Rodrigues, who wanted to get the fuck out of Dodge in that horrible team called the Buffalo Sabres, and gets an upgraded position. Pittsburgh Penguins, honestly, was another team that won this trade deadline to me. Because they made a lot of moves, and they did a lot of good shit. And that was one thing that I liked about the Pittsburgh Penguins, was they were active and they were making big trades. And we all know that. Pittsburgh is a very active team, trading-wise. They make a lot of trades to make their team better, and we all know that. This trade here was a big one. Picking up Evan Rodrigues, who should play great, making your team deeper, and you got to think that. Rodrigues should be hopefully better for your team, but we'll have to see. Andy Green going to the New York Islanders, that was a stupid move by Lou Lamoriello. He was actually going to pick up fucking Zach Parise for Andrew Ladd. That is nuts to hear that. Zach Parise for Andrew Ladd. That just hearing that rumor, just... I'm sorry, Islanders fans. I feel really bad for you. But Zach Parise, thank goodness you guys didn't pick him up. Because, I mean, I love Zach Parise. He's a good player. But I feel like picking up his contract would be such a stupid idea for your team. You wouldn't have to deal with any recapture penalty. The fucking Minnesota Wild would have to deal with that recapture penalty. But Zach Parise, I don't know. He's not going to be the fix that you need for goal scoring wise. He's not. The New Jersey Devils, they were pretty active as well. They made a lot of deals. The first one, robbing the Tampa Bay Lightning. And first of all, what the fuck is the Tampa Bay Lightning thinking? Like, what is Brisball, where the fuck their GM name is? What was he thinking throughout this entire trade deadline this year? Was he just like, okay, I'm just going to trade away every first-round draft pick and pick up good players? What the fuck is that? So you trade away your first-round draft pick in a very deep draft this year, and Nolan Foote for Blake Coleman, who's been getting 20 goals. I mean, that's good. I mean, he's a steal of a contract. That's pretty good for your team. Barclay Goodrow, who is the same stats as Tyler Ennis, and we paid a 5th-round draft pick, and you guys paid a 2020 first-round draft pick in a draft that is fucking loaded this year in the first round. You decide to do that? That is the stupidest fucking thing you guys could have done, trading away that pick. You had 2 first-round draft picks, which were pretty fucking good picks. Barclay Goodrow is nowhere near. And last year, in 20 games, he had 2 fucking points in the playoffs. So how do you think this guy's really going to be that energy for you guys come to playoffs? I don't know. Stupid deals by the fucking Tampa Bay Lightning, but what a steal by the New Jersey Devils and the San Jose Sharks. San Jose knows they don't have a first-round draft pick in this draft, and they need one, and they got it. I mean, this draft is going to be hella deep. And they traded that one pick to the fucking Ottawa Senators, unfortunately, and it was a stupid deal for them. But, I mean, New Jersey Devils, let's keep talking about them. They made a couple deals as well, if I could find... Oh, yeah, New Jersey Devils, they got the most cap space. Jesus Christ, this team has been a fucking gong show. Jesus Christ. Anyways, they made a pretty good amount of moves from that the deal. They also traded away Wayne Simmons for like a 2021 fifth-round draft pick. Conditional one, and then they also traded away Sami Vatanen, which picked up another conditional fourth-round draft pick, Fredrik Klassen, and Jan Kokkonen. So nothing really they picked up. They weren't really negotiating some big deals, but they got some little picks here and there, and a steal of a deal from the Tampa Bay Lightning, which gave them a first-round draft pick. The real big first trade, big deal was the Tyler Toffoli one as well. Again, sent to the Vancouver Canucks, which I gotta say, Tyler Toffoli, great player. And it's going to be a good pickup for the Vancouver Canucks. They need another goal scorer, and Tyler Toffoli was that guy. They had to pay a lot, but I mean, to get a good player like Tyler Toffoli, you're going to have to pay up big time, right? You're going to have to. And turning away Tim Scheller, which is a guy that you needed to get rid of in the first place because of contracts. Tyler Madden, which was a big talk prospect, and then a second and a fourth-round draft pick. You trade away a lot, but you got a lot in return. Dylan DeMello going to the Jets, great defenseman, should help them for that playoff push. Even if they do make it, they didn't really trade away too much. Brendan Dillon, Washington, they're loading up for that Stanley Cup, man. They picked up Kovalchuk as well. They're doing some low-key moves, but honestly, Kovalchuk, if he plays really good with the Washington Capitals, you never know. I mean, he's been on a little bit of a kind of a stretch right now. He hasn't been doing as great as usual. But, I mean, if Kovalchuk gets fucking going right now, and, I mean, you only have to pay $350K. So this guy is practically fucking nothing to your team. You get Dylan and Kovalchuk. I mean, you get another extra goal scorer to your team. And then you also get a nice defenseman to play alongside John Carlson. I mean, that's a steal of a deal. Brendan Dillon's been able to play with horribly defensive people and make them look fucking smart. I think Dillon's a great pickup for Washington. Scandella, the St. Louis Blues, has some more depth for them, which is a really nice trade for them. Martinez, some extra depth for Vegas. He's nothing really too special. It took him second round, 2 seconds, which is kind of a steal for LA since it's a pretty loaded draft this year. Otherwise, Andre Casa goes to Boston, which was a great deal for them. I think this guy, he's going to be another great player. I know he's been having some kind of rough years, but he's playing with a pretty bad Anaheim Ducks team this year. But if he could get going with Boston, I feel like he could definitely rip shit up. And he's a young guy. He's not too expensive. Plus, they got David Backes off the team. And, I mean, I would pay anything to get that fucker off the team right now. As Boston, as they're a Stanley Cup-driven team right now, I think that's a perfect way to go about things, getting him off the team. Cody Eakin going to Winnipeg, just another smart deal for Winnipeg. It was just an overall nice move by them. Like we already talked about the Kovalchuk move. Nemastankinov going to the Colorado Avalanche. This is probably another one of the smart deals that I liked. Is his name Vladimir? Okay, I'm trying to find him on fucking what you call it on Hockey DB so I could find, but I cannot spell his name fast enough so I could get the information to you guys. But Nemastankinov, he hasn't been doing too bad. I mean, he's been traded around the past couple of years, but this year he finally gets on a good playoff team, and you never know. I mean, 25 points for a guy that was on a bad team is not the worst. But he averages pretty good. I mean, when he was on a good team, his best season was 44 points. So you got to hope that he could be able to do that with the Colorado Avalanche and produce pretty well. Then the big trade of the day was Jean-Gabriel Pageau being traded for a 2020 conditional first-round draft pick, a second, and also a third. There's a bunch of conditions that I could read to you guys, but I know you guys really don't give a shit. Jean-Gabriel Pageau also signed a contract extension with the team, which will lock him up, I think, for 5-6 years, I think, something like that, for $5 million. So it's a nice contract for the New York Islanders. Will it fix him up offensively? No. He's a passer. He's not a goal scorer. You guys need more goal scorers, but I guess you guys just won't listen, right? Then also another big deal of the day, Vincent Trochek going to the Carolina Hurricanes. And man, I think the Carolina Hurricanes had overall the best trade deadline yet. They were really fucking active all day long. They were really active. They started off the day with trading away Joey Keane for Julien Gauthier, which was a small deal. And then they make the big moves. Vincent Trochek going to Carolina, who's been struggling the past couple of years, for Eric Halla, Lucas Wallmark, and then two prospects. Nice move by them. Honestly, that gets them some players to help out. I mean, Vincent Trochek's nice. Florida gets a whole whack ton of good players. I mean, Eric Kalla, if he could get going, I mean, he just wasn't with a team that he was enjoying. But, I mean, this guy can really get going. I mean, he showed that in Vegas. If he's producing, he's going to produce a lot. And just hopefully he can get back in that pattern. And then they picked up Sammy Vatanen and Brady Shea. Their fucking defense is loaded, man. Let's read over their defensive core. They got Jacob Slavin, great defenseman. Brady Shea, Jake Gardiner, who's been struggling this year. Brent Pesce, Joel Edmondson, Trevor Van Riemsdyk. Not just that, you also have Sammy Vatanen, who's injured. Dougie Hamilton. Like, this team is fucking loaded. Dougie Hamilton was a fucking so-called James Norris defenseman this year, and he got injured, unfortunately. But, man, this team, holy crow. They have really loaded themselves up to have a good playoff run. And with the way that the stacked Metro division is right now, they really need to make that big push. Boston also made another big trade, Nick Ritchie for Dante Heinen, just another small little trade there. Nick Ritchie, big guy, Dante Heinen, just somebody that didn't fit into the team. And then the Calgary Flames made a couple moves as they picked up Derek Forbort and also Eric Gustafsson as well. They made some small little moves, nothing really too fantastic, but just some small little trades. And then Robin Lehner, some reason the fucking Toronto Maple Leafs decided to help out and retain salary cap, but he got traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. And smart deal by Vegas, picking up another goaltender to help for your playoff run. And, I mean, the Pacific Division really didn't do too much to toughen up. I mean, Tyler Toffoli to Vancouver. Calgary loaded up defensively. We loaded up in all sorts of areas for the Edmonton Oilers, making us deeper. And Vegas has got another good goaltender with their team. So Vegas should be still going on a good run. Calgary, I don't know what you're going to be coming to if Eric Gustafsson. Eric Gustafsson's shit defensively. And fucking Derek Forbort, he's not really an offensive producer. The Flames really didn't pick up any offense, unfortunately for them. But fortunate for the Edmonton Oilers as we're looking to clinch a playoff spot here very soon, as we're right now staying in the second place division, as we got two big games coming up against the Anaheim Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights. Honestly, the big winners of the trade deadline, Carolina Hurricanes, without a doubt, they were one big winners there. Edmonton Oilers, they were some big winners as well. They did a lot of good moves. And I'm actually happy for the first time in a long time as an Oilers fan, sitting here watching this team and saying, these are actually good fucking moves. The last time we were actually ever excited about a trade deadline was when Ryan Smith was traded. That was the only eventful trade deadline that the Edmonton Oilers had, and now we're sitting here having an eventful trade deadline last night, and it was a lot of fun to watch all morning long. But for right now, guys, I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Adios, amigos.